All right, welcome back, guys. This is no, it's not. This overlay matchup shot play. There are a lot of videos with three sports going for the day. Having trouble keeping everything straight, going a little bonkers over here. We got a couple of things that we're going to talk about for baseball, and something that you kind of wanted to go through is I seem to like one of them a lot more than you, and this is not a play that you love. You like it, but you don't love it, and it is from years of sports betting. If you don't love something, be smart about it. Don't put a bunch of money in just to get that action. This is a rush that we all live for and love a lot. But if you don't feel good about something, have the discipline to stay away from it. Maybe play a few bucks for big.
For sure. It's like none jump out at me today. And you have to be honest with yourselves about that. And we're gonna go over a couple or one specifically. And I like it, like you mentioned. I don't love it. I would not pick the other side, that's for certain. But I understand why it's there. It's not like the ones that we've had the past couple of days, if you will.
Okay. So we went through the NBA and the football ones, and quite frankly, there wasn't anything that jumped out for me today for football or for basketball. So we're really going to stick to baseball today. If you catch this early enough, we both agree that we'll take the 6 points or whatever, or we'll spot the 6 points to Chichi Gonzalez, who we have basically zero respect for. He doesn't strike out anybody. Meanwhile, Kevin Gausman is quietly having a really good season. He hasn't been on a DK main slate in forever, so it's possible a bunch of you guys haven't looked at him. I know you hate spotting points, especially this many. So for you to be liking this one should tell you guys something.
Yeah, it's just not enough points. This is a similar matchup to Grinky Mark Vicious. And it's like less than half the spread. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, it is. It is less than half the spread, and I actually, I had a sneaky feeling that Margavicius and Greinke would be similar last night. So when I'm getting 14 points, it was an easy play. Went pretty big on it. Felt really good about it. I don't feel quite as good about this one,
Okay.
but I still like it, and I've already put some money onto it. Chichi Gonzalez has no room for error because he strikes out nobody.
Agreed.
So next up, the one that I like even more, that you don't like as much, but you definitely understand where I'm coming from. It's going to be shifting down to the Baltimore and Boston game and looking at two guys, Martin Perez and Alex Cobb. Both guys have very interesting careers that you can make an argument for who the better pitcher was, depending on which year you go back to. Want to go back to 2014? Give me Alex Cobb. But newsflash for you guys, it's 2020. It ain't 2014. Martin Perez, for a terrible Boston pitching staff, has been a breath of fresh air this year. ERA under 4. He's not great, but he's pitched well. He burnt me last time out. I watched him pitch very well against the New York Yankees. Alex Cobb has been mostly struggling for the latter part of this season, and he gets a hot Boston team. Meanwhile, the Baltimore Orioles have, they look like a team that's not good, that has just mailed it in and just wants to go home. You know what I mean? Like the season's over. We're playing for nothing. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5 of their last 7 games, is it? Yeah, in 5 of their last 7 games, they've scored exactly 1 run. A bunch of the guys on Boston have very good numbers off of Alex Cobb. So I've got a few bucks put down on Martin Perez, and I feel pretty good about it personally.
It's interesting that Alex Cobb is also more expensive on pay sites. I have a feeling that that's where they might get a little bit of the algorithm might factor that in. And it's hard not to like Perez here, man. I mean, you got a big favorite in Perez, and the win matters here. I mean, that's an extra 4 points, right? We don't care too much on pay sites in the overall grand scheme of things, but when you're talking about a 1-versus-1 matchup, I mean, Perez is in the better spot to get the win.
Yeah, I feel like you're wishy-washy on this one, but I'm doing my best to talk you into it.
I'm not wishy-washy on whether I like Perez more than Cobb. I'm
Fair.
wishy-washy on whether I want to put actual dollars on it.
Fair enough. That's a good way to take a look at it as well. I completely understand that. I mean,
I
the
will,
reason,
but I'm wishy-washy on it.
fair enough. And the reason, like, we look through these NFL plays, I think you liked Miles Gaskin. Don't love it, though. We both kind of like Devontae Parker. But none of these give us great confidence factors at all for tonight.
Agreed. Did that Parker line drop?
No, it was 3 before. It's the same.
Thought it was 3.5, but okay.
And actually,
Yeah,
we haven't. Go ahead.
I prefer Parker and I prefer the ones you said, but like one big play in football changes all that.
You know what I mean? Like we talked about it with hitters on baseball yesterday, and obviously, there was 2 that we liked, we felt were oddly priced, and one didn't work out because Eric Hosmer homered. I'll take that bet every single day, but it doesn't mean it's going to work every time.
Agreed.
I made the comparison with you this morning. A lot of you guys know I used to play a poker really, really hardcore. And I will always, if I got an overpair to your underpair pre-flop, I'll bet it all because that's the right move because you're an 82% favorite to win. But you want to know what? 18% happens enough of the time that if you don't have that kind of bankroll, you don't want to go so heavy on something like that.
Yeah, I'm locked in on Perez and Gaussman now. I feel good about it, not that it's in there.
Okay. That's a good way to think about it. And as far as the NBA goes, this is another one, man. Like, there wasn't anything I felt good about. Like, if I had to bet one of these, I'll take Monty Morris, plus the 2.5, because he's just outplayed Gary Harris all series. He seems very necessary to this Denver team. But I also know Gary Harris is the better player who plays more minutes. So this is not a bet that I'm excited to make. It's where I would go, but at best, I'll put a couple dollars on it.
The only thing I disagree with what you said is that Gary Harris is the better player. I think he's the better defender, but not better offensive player. But he plays more minutes, so that's why I don't love it.
If I'm formulating a team to go win, Gary Harris is more valuable to my team. I would say, like, on a point per minute basis, Monte Morris is a better DFS player.
I feel like Gary Harris is a lot like Danny Green, KCP.
Sure. And that's needed in, the modern NBA with your D&3 guys. But, like, if you need me to go get a bucket, I'll take Monty Morris all day long.
Agreed.
So, again, I don't love anything from the NBA tonight. Have fun with it if you want to. But we feel better about the baseball plays today.
Agreed. Pitching, I'm going to be sad when there's not as many pitching matchups on here because baseball's going to end. Although in the playoffs, this is going to be awesome.
Yeah, I don't love DK MLB playoffs.
Same.
I mean, we'll cover it and we'll do it, but I'm more excited for playing this come MLB playoffs. So again, guys, I encourage you to give it a whirl. I know the last couple of days since we've opened up the matchup shop, people have been getting excited about it. Let's do this.
Wow, this is funny. So, man, I just put in my Gaussman bet, right? And now it's already at -7, like literally in the last 2 minutes. And it makes sense because I'll just say this, like Mills and Cool are a 6-point spread, and that seems about right. Gaussman is better than Mills. Like, he's just having a better year. I know Mills had a no-hitter, but Gaussman's better than Mills. And Cool is probably better than Chi-Chi. So for these lines to have, like, the same is off. Do you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
It's kind of like the Glasnow one. It made no sense yesterday that there was not a bigger discrepancy. And then Michael Wacha messed with me. He had me a little tilting when he struck out 3 guys in the first inning, which he probably hasn't done all year. They can get you tilting. But, of course, Glasnow still easily overcame it. So you can find diamonds in the rough on here, and I encourage you guys to get into it and then watch these lines move, in the opposite or the right direction for you.
It's really – wow. See, I don't know if it was like my action that moved it. I mean, I didn't place that much on it, but now Perez is -1.
Well, I put more on Perez, too. I might have helped that one as well.
Yeah, so sweet.
All right, guys. Make those deposits. If you are a brand new player, send me the screenshot, and we can get you some version of a free membership depending on how much your deposit is.
Thanks, guys.